Good afternoon. It is once again on a Friday, 5:30 p.m., and this, of course, is the most interactive television show in town, Hotline 21. This is U.S. Representative Danny Davis, home for the Christmas holidays. As a matter of fact, I just got in last night, and I got off the airplane, went straight to the car, and I've pretty much been running ever since. I tried my best to get to my annual Christmas party. Couldn't make it, but the people who were there tell me it was just fantastic. So I want to thank all the folks who came out and who were there with us. I want to especially thank, and it was really a real pleasure for people to see Reverend Jesse Jackson and his delightful wife, Mrs. Jackie Jackson. And we are pleased to know that Reverend Jackson is doing just fine. As a matter of fact, I think he may have even had a piece of potato pie or something like that. So it was just fun to have friends and family and people out. I understand that Dorothy Brown was there with her red dress on. Put on your red, well, Christmas time. But no, Richard Boykin, just Camille Lilly, a plethora of folks, and Minister Seymour and his group were singing and dancing and having fun. My good friend Dr. Willie Wilson, I'm told, was in the house. Well, let me just start off by wishing all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Of course, we were tied up in Washington all week because we had several very important measures before us. One, we had the tax bill. And a lot of people have said a lot of things about the tax bill. You may have seen President Trump and the leaders of the House and the leaders of the Senate and all of the Republicans were just having a good time, pleased that they had passed a bill that they believe. And the good thing about the United States of America is that each one of us have the right as well as the responsibility to believe whatever it is that we believe. And then we're able to articulate that. If we disagree, we can disagree. And nothing will happen to you in terms of something being done to you because you express disagreement. They believe that the best way to keep the economy moving is to use what is called trickle-down economics. It is my belief that the history of the world has always been, my sweet, is deciding who eats and who don't eat. We've always had this argument and discussion about those who have and those who have not. And many people don't know it, but the primary struggles of the world have been those who have not, trying to get some of what those who have plenty. Billie Holiday said that folks with plenty, they got a lock on the door. Trying to keep anybody else from breaking in, taking any, while they're out getting more. Gershwin wrote that, I believe. It says, I got plenty of nothing and nothing's plenty for me. So the fight in our world, not just in our country, not just in our city, but in our world, is the struggle between those who have and those who have not. And that has always been, those that's got much always want some more. I've never ever seen anybody who said, I've got too much, take some of what I got and give it to somebody else. I remember the parable in the Bible about the rich man, the young rich ruler, who really was a nice guy. He had everything that you could wish for. But he wanted the assurance of getting to the kingdom. And so he asked the master, said, Master, what do I really need to do to make absolutely certain that I'm going to get to the kingdom? He said, well, love your neighbor. He says, I do. Help those who are in need. I do. Be good to people. I am. And everything that he was asked, he says, I'm doing that. So the master supposedly told him, said, take all the stuff that you got and distribute it to the poor. And you will have no problem. I understand that the young rich ruler said, I thought you were serious until we got to this part of the conversation. So if you struggle, people who pass that bill, they believe that if you shore up those at the top and make sure that they get all that they can need, all they can use, all they can want, that they will reinvest, and some of that reinvestment will trickle down and benefit those at the bottom. That's called the trickle-down theory. The only problem, the big problem I have with it, is that research has not shown or proven that to be true. It is my belief that if you want the economy to expand, to grow, you want to create jobs, you want to do economic development, the best way to make that happen is to make sure that the resources get to the hands of as many people. Because when they get to the hands of the guy shining shoes, he makes enough money now that he can go to the grocery store and buy a steak. If he comes to the grocery store and buys a steak, then the guy who raised cows can keep raising cows and sell steak and make money so that he and his family can go to the theater on Saturday afternoon and enjoy a play. If they go to the theater, then it means that the actors and actresses can work and they can make money. And if they can work and make money, then the people who write the productions and who create the scenes and all, they can keep doing that because money is circulating. If the money circulates, then everybody get a little piece. I brought my Santa Claus attire with me, and I brought it, I remember when we first started doing it and had it, a woman named Mary Lindsay kind of came up with it and created it. She worked in my office at the time. And I guess this is a good time for friends and family. It's a good time to remember. And I take this moment to reflect upon all the many different people who have become and who are the reason that I go to Washington each week. They are the reason that I have the opportunity to go to Washington and debate with other people from all over the country as to what our country ought to be in pursuit of. So I say to the people who have put me in office, kept me in office, I remember this song that says it must have been cold in my shadow, but you are the wind beneath my wings. And if I have flown anywhere in any way, it's because the good people who have been supporters of mine have provided the wind to lift me up so that I can debate with Paul Ryan, or I can debate with Mitch McConnell, or I can debate with Rush Limbaugh, or anybody else, and debate the issues. I disagreed with this tax because I think it basically helps the rich and those who are at the upper echelons of society. Does not do much for the poor, virtually nothing. And the impact of it, as soon as we get back to Washington, I guarantee you that we're going to be talking about cutting entitlement programs. They're going to call it revamping entitlement. And what they're going to be talking about is cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, cutting LIHEAP programs, cutting Social Security programs. Cut, cut, cut. One of the areas that we have made significant progress in has been in health status. 50 years ago, the health status, that is life expectancy, people were expected to live about 58 years. Now people are expected to live 78 years. And much of that is due to the fact that we have improved, increased access for people to get health care. And the things that did that the most: Medicare, Medicaid, the mid-1960s, where senior citizens and low-income people now had a way to pay for health care. And there are going to be serious efforts to restrict and take that away. Well, even though we're happy, even though we're drinking a little sip of eggnog every once in a while, some of us put some other stuff in there with it. Some of us drink it just like it is. But no matter how you take it, we will celebrate. But we won't celebrate to the point where we forget what our needs, hopes, and aspirations are. I know there was a caller trying to get in a moment ago, but I was on a little bit of a roll. So, caller, I'm now ready for you, so just go ahead and call us back.
Yeah, how you doing, Connie Davis?
I am doing just great, James. How are you?
Okay, now when you talk about cuts, right? Now, they better not mess with those cuts. They better not cut those programs out, because if they do, God gonna deal with them. And then like he's still doing everything what they doing. That's God's work, because he's exposing a lot of stuff out here, like the harassment and all these Hollywood people, like Donald Trump. Donald Trump had to watch his back, because God will deal with him. And everything, what happened, all this harassment coming out, is because of Donald Trump. He messed with God. He should not mess with God, because God can do something to him.
Well, I tell you, God is a powerful, all-powerful, all-wise, all-knowing entity. And, of course, God works best when we help him, when we work with him. And so I would urge us to all have faith. You know, I was reading a little poem yesterday by a woman named Helen Steiner Rice. And she said that often your tasks will be many and more than you think you can do. But start out today with faith in your heart and climb till your dreams come true.
Because some people don't know who they're dealing with.
That's right. And she went on to say that often the roads will be rugged.
Because when you mess with God, God deal with you.
All right.
Y'all have a nice Christmas.
Well, you have a wonderful Christmas, James. We look forward to seeing you next year. And just stay on the case. All right, we'll go to our next caller. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, we're ready for you. I'm hearing a little something else coming through. Caller, are you there? Well, I tell you, if you got a little technical glitch, don't worry about it.
Hello, Danny Davis, Congressman.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
This is Louis Tenuta's granddaughter again.
Yes.
Yes, and that's it. Let me turn my TV down.
All right.
I like your Christmas picture. It looks real good.
All right.
You know what it is, Danny Davis? We need more people like you up in that White House, Green House, Blue House, whatever house it is. You got a heart of gold, sir. There's people, you got to remember old sayings on the people from the top, the big tax people, big people with the big money. Never forget the garbage that you ate out of.
You are so right.
Wait. And turn around and give back. Give back. Always give back. If I see somebody standing on the corner, I only got $5, I'm gonna give that person $1.
You know, I happened to go to the bank, and I had a little check for $20 that I had not cashed, and I asked the teller to give me all $1 bills.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably was trying to figure out, why did I want all $1 bills?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I want all $1 bills so that as I run into people who want $1, I will have $1 to give them.
So there you have it. You have it. You remember the garbage you ate out of. Bless your heart.
And some, you wonder sometimes what they're going to do with the $1, or whether they're going to get some food or
it don't matter.
Something else.
By you giving that $1, made you feel better than him getting that $1.
Absolutely, and if you can feel good,
that's right.
Even though they might go and...
believe. You got to believe in Jesus. You got to believe in somebody.
All right.
You know,
Hey.
you got to praise the Lord. You got to be thankful for what you have. If somebody is a little bit less fortunate than you, share, help, be kind, be courteous, take care of the handicapped. If you see somebody can't open the door in a restaurant, open the door. How long
All right.
it take you? 2 seconds to open the door.
You know, sometimes people will hold the door open for me, and I'll turn back and hold the door open
Yeah,
for
but
them.
that's because you Danny Davis. That's a little different.
And
No, that's because you ain't handicapped. You Danny Davis. You special.
well, I really appreciate that. I thank you so much, and it just lightens up my day. And so I hope that your holiday will
I hope
just...
everybody's holiday.
All
I
right.
hope everybody holiday. Holiday should be every day, like my husband said. Oh, on holiday, everybody get toys. Why can't it be like that every day?
All right,
every
so
day
we'll
be
make
Christmas?
every day Sunday.
Every day.
All right.
I love you. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa too.
And well, thank you so much, and
Mother,
happy
welcome.
holidays to you and your family.
That's the Tenuta family for you. We
All
love
right.
you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. When will I see you again?
Well, we're going to be around the whole next 15 or 16 days.
This is a wonderful program you got here.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, you got all kind of people you help out. That little telephone calls. That's very important.
All right.
All right. Praise the good Lord. Hey everybody, all you camera people and all that.
Bye-bye.
Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
You know, we also go for more than the last 30 years. Every Christmas, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., bunch of other folks from Push and myself and others, we go to the Cook County Jail on Christmas. And I remember we took Harold Washington. And I remember some of Harold's supporters didn't want him to go to the county jail. We knew that we were into this heavy election about him running for mayor. And the Bible says that when you do unto the least of these, you know, tomorrow we are going, the next day, not tomorrow, Saturday, Christmas Eve, we're going to visit the Juvenile Detention Center at Washington and Western, where teenage boys are in confinement. We go there and try to cheer them up a little bit, talk to them, take them some fruit. Some of us will be around the office early Saturday morning because we'll be putting fruit together and candy and stuff like that. And so if anybody want to join us, our phone number is 773-533-7520. And you can call us and join up with us and go with us and be a part. And let's go back to the phone. Caller, are you there? Yes, caller, are you there?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Yes. Happy holidays, Congressman Danny Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I really appreciate your support in Washington to support the issues that we are faced with. I just want people to know, and you already know, the power of our vote. It is so important for us to vote, and we need to make sure that we come out full force in March to vote for different legislation that is supporters for us as far as what we are being faced with. And I want you to make sure that you be an advocate and to put together a platform so we as people will know who to vote for and who to put in office and who are the most important people that we should focus on for the betterment and the empowerment of our race. So if we as a people and our children and our older seniors, the seniors can continue to be successful with what we need to have coming toward us as far as what we are supposed to have. The people need to know what the power of the vote is still one of the most powerful things that we can have a voice to say. We need to exercise that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're having a little bit of feedback. So we just caution our callers to make sure that, your television is not on. And I thank this caller because what she's saying is so relevant. You can have all the desire to bring about change. But if you're not involved in it, there was one philosopher who said that an ideology is not enough. I'm saying to think and to feel is only a part of the solution. But you also have to figure out a way to act it out, a way to implement it. And if you're talking about political self-determination, then you have to be willing to vote. And if you're not registered to vote, then you can't vote. And if you don't know who to vote for, that's kind of, you don't know, you may be voting against yourself as opposed to voting for yourself. We live in what is pretty much called a civilized society, meaning that we try and govern with as much opportunity for as many people to participate in it. Right after the New Year's over, campaigning is going to become fierce. I mean, you're going to see signs all over the place. You're going to hear ads on radio and on television. You're going to see people out knocking on doors even in the wintertime when it's cold. And you can be doing that also. I remember Ray Charles used to sing this song, "Should have been me with that real fine chick driving that Donaflow." So you don't have to sit back and watch other people doing it. You can be out doing it yourself. There's a certain thrill that you get when you knock on the door and tell people, "I think you ought to vote." Fats Domino used to sing this, "There's a thrill up on Blueberry Hill." Well, you get a thrill when you know that you've connected with a person and you have convinced them or you have helped motivate them to do something that they otherwise may not have done. So be engaged, be involved. And after you get through eating all that turkey and dressing, I don't want much, I just want a little bit. Just a teeny weeny bit. Let's see what our caller has to say. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Congressman. And I like to say it's a great day to be on God's green earth.
Yes, sir.
And you said something very important. The word is VOTE. So all you listeners that did not vote, you're getting what you're supposed to get. That's the bottom line of that. Now, let's address that issue about Donald Duck and the rest of his cartoon characters. Sometimes you think of things and the collusion and all this mess. This man is doing things that just don't make any sense to us poor people. Only thing that's being helped is the people with the big money, is the people in other countries, because he's helping other people in other countries. And do you remember his motto? Oh, I'm for everybody. I love black people. I love this. I love that. And what he was going to do. Well, let me tell you something. One thing that I believe what he did was to gather up people like the ones that's listening right now, didn't have nothing to do except sit on your butt and don't vote. Only thing you want to do is complain. Maybe it might gather up enough. It's a great possibility. In 18, a lot of the Republicans won't be there. There might be hopefully a lot of Democrats that got some damn sense to do the right thing. That's the most important thing. You got to be able to be doing the same thing, the right thing. It's about helping other people, not your own agenda. You're helping yourself. So again, this man don't have a bit of sense, not a bit of sense. He don't have no compassion for people such as us or any other people that is getting in the way. He has businesses in other countries. He's helping Russia before he helping his own United States. This man do not have a bit of sense. So again, I'm going to give everybody a happy dream. One day on Air Force One, he's going to get up and say he's going to the washroom. When he goes to the washroom, he's going to go out the wrong door, and he's going to be somewhere all over the world. So again, it will be a great day. I don't like to talk about killing or murder, anything like that, but something has to be done. He has to be impeached. He's not competent. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And listen, Congressman, I'm so sorry to talk so angry, but if you get around and talk to the people, first thing they want to do is talk about Donald Duck. So again, we got to get together, vote people, vote. I don't care if you got to vote 5, 10 times, just vote. I don't care what you do, but we need voters out there. Congressman, I'd like to wish you and your family a wonderful holiday. I want to wish you a safe day from CAN TV to wherever you get, because you got to watch that out also. And all of the people that normally call, I wish y'all a happy, wonderful holiday. And Congressman, again, I appreciate you. I want to get out there, let me hear your response, and thanks for taking the call.
Well, thank you so very much. And, I feel pretty good about Christmas coming up. I've got 2 computers that I'm going to give to 2 young boys. In this instance, girls won't be the ones getting them. Boys, I had a great discussion today with the gentleman and his daughter, Mr. Muhammad, and Miss Annetta Wilson. We are getting ready to start a program to teach boys and girls how to play chess. We're going to start with 20 kids, and probably in the next week or so we'll be advertising, or we'll be soliciting kids who want to learn. The program's going to take place on a Saturday morning. The kids are going to be 9 to 12. And I'm as excited about it as I can be. We plan to do it at the Sankofa Safe Child Initiative over on Roosevelt Road in the 4100 block. So obviously we'll be telling you more about that as it jumps off. But yeah, in spite of the darkness of night, I'm always kind of excited because I know that joy cometh in the morning. And after darkness, light is the next thing that will appear. And so, yeah, we have a little gloom and doom. There are so many people who are so broke until they can't buy their children a piece of bubble gum for Christmas. Not that the bubble gum is what they need, but it does have a sweet taste. And it's just the idea of something beyond. Some people who are very fortunate are going to spend much of their Christmas at church. And you know, if you don't have anything else that you can do, or you don't have any money to go do something else, you can always go to church and hear about the Christmas story. You know, Mary and Joseph, the three wise men, and all that surrounds that wonderful event. And so Christmas still has the aura. I probably better move on, because when I start talking about my parents, I sometimes have a tendency to get a little bit emotional. You know, Christmas, just having breakfast was something different. My mother sometimes would make some yeast rolls on Christmas morning, and that became a specialty kind of thing. And so just breakfast at Christmas time would add another dimension to life. Then, of course, it was church and Christmas programs, and the kids would all have speeches to say and little things to do. If you could sing, you might sing a solo or a duet. My brothers, they used to try and sing. They could sing better than I could, so I never tried to sing. They would sing. And they used to sing the song, Little David, play on your harp. Hallelujah, little David, play on your harp. One would say, Little David was. The other one would say, a shepherd boy. And then Willie would say, what did he do? And Jesse would say, he killed Goliath and shouted for joy. Little David, play on your harp. And they might say, I told you once. So I told you twice. What did you tell? You can't get to heaven with another man's wife. Little David, play on your harp. Hallelujah. Little David, play on your harp. And all of that stuff would be fun and meaningful. And you didn't worry about the size of your gift or how much it may have cost. My father could take a knife and kind of make little things out of it. And so if you wanted something that he couldn't buy, he might take his knife and whittle it up or shape it up and say, what'd you say you wanted? You wanted to see the Lone Ranger? Well, here's the Lone Ranger. Say he's lone and he's a ranger. And you look at it and you may be disappointed because you didn't have the other Lone Ranger. But it would be so amusing and you'd forget about you didn't have the other Lone Ranger or whatever. And life does not have to be miserable. and sad and boring and bleak. Put whatever you put into life, you can get that out of it. You know, there's a little thing I sometimes say, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening time when I counted my scanty store. But I found that life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, then you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire, only to learn dismayed that whatever price I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. And so life can be so amazing. You know, I was in a Popeyes today and I ran into a gentleman and we started chatting a little bit. And he says, oh, your wife was my school teacher when I went to Collins High School. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. He said, well, I had a good time. She was a good teacher, and I took courses she taught even though I was an athlete. He says, I played football. I said, oh, you played football with Dennis D? He said, yep, I sure did. He says, I played football with Dennis Deere, the guy who's now the county commissioner. He says, my daughter is on the basketball team over at Marshall High School, and she is playing under Coach Dorothy Gators. And I says, oh, I know Dorothy Gators. As a matter of fact, we help her each year just about with the Martin Luther King Classic tournament that she puts on. And he says, yeah, she's a wonderful lady, and my daughter just loves her to death, and I think she does an outstanding job with kids. And so there are a lot of people who are just doing outstanding things. I've got an invitation to go to church at Quinn Chapel that Reverend Moody has extended. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to go because I'm actually going to go out tomorrow and have Christmas dinner. My sister is trying to make sure that our family stay as connected as we can. And so she is inviting everybody out to her house for dinner. She wanted to do it Christmas Day. And I said, well, I always go to the county jail, so I can't do it Christmas Day. Then she said, let's do it Christmas Eve. I said, well, I always visit these halfway houses and shelters and all that kind of stuff on Christmas Eve, so I can't. She said, let's do it the day before that. And so we'll do it the day before that. And I appreciate the fact that she does this, because if it was left up to my brothers, I have two brothers who live here, or myself, in all likelihood, we probably wouldn't do it. I have another sister who lives here in Chicago. Then I have a sister who lives in Virginia. Sometimes she and her husband and their kids manage to get into Chicago, but they won't do it. But I'll spend with this much. And I just met a young cousin of mine in Washington. He lives in Maryland, and I have not met his parents, but I've met him, and it's been a delight to just meet him and get to know him. And Christmas is a time a wonderful, wonderful time of the year. Well, we still got a little bit of time here, and if somebody wants to give me a call and tell us what you're expecting to do for the holidays, and just as importantly, what you expect to do for next year. I've already started thinking about my New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to spend as much time promoting the development of African American males as I can. I'm also going to spend more time with people in recovery. I stopped by a meeting this morning at the Bobby Wright Mental Health Center and Habilitative System Incorporated, Dr. Sophia and Mr. Donald Dew and that staffs that put on. And it reinforced for me that substance abuse. I mean, there are a lot of people looking forward to Christmas so they can get double high. They don't want to get just high. They want to get double high. Like high, high, high. I feel so terrible when I go in the store and see these young girls and young men buying blunts without impunity, as though it's like buying an ice cream cone. And I see just gorgeous young teenagers and all buying blunts. Give me a blunt. Give me a blunt with the berry in it. Give me a White Owl blunt. Give me a double blunt, or triple blunt. And it is so unfortunate that we need all of this external stuff to help us make it through the day. I tell you, I'm so glad that I learned those things about I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Or rather than putting this foul stuff in my body that's going to help me die sooner, I can find some other approach to life. But let's go to the phone. Caller, are you there?
I want to first start by saying Merry Christmas to you there, Congressman.
Thank you very much.
So there's a lot of activities happening here in our streets, and we know that now, right?
Yes, indeed.
And I just want to get your sensibility to see what it is that you feel could be something special to happen around this Christmas time and season to help us come together, be one, and straighten out what it is that these curricular activities that we have in the streets, you see. Because I, for one, am getting a little too sick and tired of this, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's trying to spread the Christmas joy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess, when I got up early today,
I'm sorry, you were saying?
that when I woke up early this morning,
Okay.
I had something on my mind, and it was a song, and
Let me hear it.
it had to do with peace. And so this song that says, I'm so tired and so weary, but I must go along until the Lord comes and call me away. But there will be peace in the valley someday.
And that's what I like to hear.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing.
peace.
I had something on my mind as well, and it was give peace a chance.
And I guess I take the position that if it is to be, let it begin with me.
Yes.
So rather than looking outside of myself, I try and look within and see what it is that I can do to help make the world a better place in which to live. It's not worrying as much about what others may or may not do or what they're doing. So, if it's to be, let it begin with me. And I guess if it's to be, let it begin with you. And each one of us just do the best that we can, as long as we can, for as many people as we can, and it'll be a better place. All right? Thank you so much for your call. My time is kind of winding down, so I think I'll just end by reading this little poem. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. Mama was in her kerchief, and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. The driver was a little old man, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles as close as they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dunder and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricanes fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys was flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll low mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old F, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprung to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thruster. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.